Alright, we got it working again. Because now we're on the second. We're going on to the second sentence of doing inferring. So go ahead and read the second sentence, Nevaeh.
Mary plays her flute for 2 hours every day.
Good. So why do you think she plays her flute for 2 hours every day?
To show and to get better.
Oh, you think that maybe she might be performing in a show?
Yeah.
Good. And why do you think that? What's something that you do that maybe you practice to get better at every day?
Gymnastics.
Yeah. So you know that maybe if you practice every day, you're going to get better, and you also do gymnastics shows, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, read the third sentence.
The boat drifted in the middle of the lake.
Alright, let's imagine this. Let's imagine that the boat is in the middle of the lake. Why? What can we infer about this situation? Why do you think that happened?
It wasn't tied up on a rope or a chain.
Good. Can you imagine yourself if you came back to find your boat? How would you feel if you saw that the boat wasn't there?
Mad and scared.
Yeah. Good job. Okay, good. So there's inferring. Okay, now the second thing we're going to do is I'm going to give you 2 passages to read. And then when we're done with the passages, we'll do a Venn diagram and compare and contrast them. So the first story is The Princess and the Farmer. So go ahead and read this out loud.
The princess looked out over the land from her tower, smelling the lovely fields of clover and feeling the pleasant sunshine. If only I could leave this dark, damp tower and work on a farm, she said. My muscles are soft and I need some sun. The farmer looked across his field at the castle and imagined the luxury.
Let's try sounding it out. What's the first part of the word you see?
Lux.
Lux. Luxurious.
The luxurious rooms and delightful feast they had inside. He pictured himself sitting with his sore feet on a cushion, with servants bringing him sweet butter. If only I could quit working and live in the tower, he said. I'm tired and I'd like some shade. The farmer and the princess switch places. Usually in these stories, the princess doesn't like the hard work and she wants to go back to the tower. And the farmer decides he misses the field and is bored sitting in the castle all day. But let's say they liked the switched and lived happily ever after, since it sounds better that way.
Okay, excellent job reading that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just write down some things that we were visualizing while we were reading the story. And visualizing, like we talked before, is while you're reading, you're just putting a movie in your head. You're playing the scenarios in your head of what's going on to help you remember what's happening in the story. So the first category we have is, these are the things I see as you read the story. So what are some things that you see while you're reading the story?
Princess looking at the tower, dark
Good.
and damp tower,
Good.
bright outside.
And it's bright outside. Excellent. Those are all good things. So we're going to write them in here. Okay. The next thing says, these are things I hear.
Roosters,
Why do you think you'd hear roosters?
because it's in a farm.
Good.
Wind blowing
Mm-hmm.
and talking,
You say talking because, why do you say talking?
because they're saying they're bored.
Good. Okay, now if you were in the story or just maybe you were next to one of them in the story, what are some of the feelings that you would get or that you know that the characters in the story are getting?
Lonely and bored and unhappy.
Good. So we'll write those down there.
Luxarissa.
Okay, and then the last category says, these are the words that stick. So these are the words that stick out. So these are words that maybe you don't know the meaning to, you got stuck on, or they just don't make sense. So which word did you get stuck on?
Luxarissa.
Okay, so that word is luxurious.
Luxurious.
Good. Is there another word you got stuck on?
Muscles.
Muscles, good, because I heard you say muscles, but then you realized that didn't sound right when you said it out loud, and then you knew that it was muscles. So good job with that. So what we're going to do is I have a sheet for inferring words. So we're going to put the word in one column. So we put luxurious, because that's a word that we didn't know. And we inferred, what do we infer about this word? What do we think that it means?
It means fancy and very nice.
Good. And how did we get that? What helped us figure out what that word meant?
Delighted feast.
Good. It was followed by delightful feast.
In the rooms.
And
It made sense.
good. It made sense when you reread it and put that word in there. Good job. Now the second word we're putting on our list is muscles. And we already said that you knew it didn't sound right when you said it out loud. And then the clues that helped us figure out,
Soft worked on them.
right, from the sentence right after she said it. Good job.
Another story now.
Okay. Now we're going to read the second passage. So go ahead and read this one out loud.
Many people would like to live on a farm so they could be around animals. If you had ever lived on a farm, you would know that life is often not easy. Most farmers have to get up very early. In the morning, a farmer has to feed and milk his cows. After doing this, the farmer has to go to his fields and work long hours plowing his land or planting his crops. After working hard all day, the farmer has come home and milk his cows again. In the winter, when it is cold, the farmers do not have to work in his fields, but when it is cold, he has to work hard at keeping his animals warm. Today's farmer has to learn how to do many things. He has to know how to care for animals, repair machines, and make the best use of his time.
Excellent. So we're going to do the same thing. With the visualizing. So these are the things that I see. When you place yourself in the story and you start reading it, what are the things that you see?
Farm with many animals, farmers
Good.
milking cows,
And what
planting
else?
crops.
Good. Those are all things that you can see. Like if you close your eyes and you read the story, you can imagine that are happening around you if you were in the story. Okay, the things that I hear are
Animals dripping in the bucket from milk from a cow.
okay, so you would hear the dripping from the milk, the cows being milked, it would be going into the bucket. That's a good one. Excellent. Okay, so the feelings that you would get are
Busy, tired after working.
good. And these are the words that stick out. What word stuck out to you while reading that
Plowing.
story? Plowing? Good. And why did it stick out to you? Why did that word stick out to you while you were reading?
Ooh.
Did you have trouble
like
saying that word?
Yeah.
Okay. So at first, we're going to write plowing on our inferring worksheet for the word. And what do we think that it means when we are reading the story?
planting his crops. Or
Right.
planting.
Right. It had something to do with farming because right after it, it said
Or planting.
good. So that would be the clue that we used to figure out what that word was. Excellent job with that. Now let's do the Venn diagram. And I know that we talked about the Venn diagram before, what it's used for. So what does the middle circle represent?
The same.
The things that are same.
Same.
And what does the side ones represent?
Farmer, princess and the farmer, and just farmer.
Good. So we have the one story over here that's the princess and the farmer. So we have this other story over here that's just about farmers. And in the middle, we're going to write what is similar about both. So let's start with what is similar. So go ahead. What's the first thing that is similar about both stories?
Farmers.
Good. And what else did we say?
The animals. Well, there is animals.
Good.
They get up early.
Excellent.
There's many things to do, and they are very tired.
Good. And when are they tired?
At the end of their day.
Good. Okay, let's start thinking about the princess and the farmer passage. Let's start with who's in the story. Who are the characters?
The princess and the farmer.
Good. Okay, so what's the setting? Where are they at? What do you see?
Well, there's a dark, damp tower, and the farmer is outside.
Good. He's outside where?
In his farm, in the fields.
Good. Okay. So, we're going to talk about, do you think when you read this story, is this a story that is factual, that really is happening? Do you think somebody made it up, or do you think that it could happen? What do you think?
It could happen, but probably was made up.
Good. And what are some clues from the story that let us know that this was probably made up?
Because
Do you know?
the princess and a farmer wouldn't be living with each other, and they wouldn't be switching place, because the princess would be living with her mother, and a farmer would be all lonely with his animals in another part of the world.
That's a good idea. Yes, those are all good clues that this was probably made up. Okay, good job. Now, for the other passage about farmers, let's write what was different in this story, what we found.
There is no switching.
Okay, who's the only person in this story?
The farmer.
Good.
And it probably really happened because they do wake up early, and they do feed and milk his cows in the morning. They're tired after a day. Is there?
Good. Those things all really happen in real life every day at a farm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now the last thing that we're going to do is suffixes. And we talked before about suffixes. Where do suffixes go at the end of a word? Where do the suffixes go? Do they go
At the end of the word.
Good. They go at the end.
Where do they go?
Do you remember what some of the suffixes are that we talked about already?
ed, ing, ly, er, ful, sies.
Good.
I already got
Okay,
it.
so those are suffixes we can add to a word to change a word. So we have a base word, and then we can add a suffix to change the word a little bit. So I'm going to give you a passage, and you're going to go through and you're going to find suffixes. We're going to choose the farmer passage. So what's the first word that you saw that had a suffix on it?
That's the one I did? Oh, lived, and that was only
Good. So we put lived. So what is the base word of lived?
Live.
Live. Good. So you're going to write live here. And then what was the suffix?
Ed.
Good. So we know we can have live by itself, because that's a word by itself. And then we can add ed to change, because when we say live, that's in the present. When we lived, that means it's in the past. Good. So what happens to the E on the end of live? Do we keep it there and add the ed so it's L-I-V-E-E-D? Or do we drop it? Do we switch it? What do we do?
Leave it there, but it's not how you spell it.
Well, what would you do?
Erase it.
We would just drop that E and add the ED. We wouldn't have two EEs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay, I want you to continue through this and find the base word, and write it here, and then write the suffixes on that side, and then we'll go over it.
Alright, there's